So really when it comes down to looking at what are going to be the best supplements for you specifically, it does come down to investigation first. I think I've always stressed this, that whenever I am trying to figure out what are going to be the best supplements for you, the current symptoms that you are experiencing on a day-to-day basis, it's going to come down to first understanding what is the problem first. What are the imbalances in your biochemistry, the root cause of everything? And so I'm going to give you some different case studies as far as symptoms that maybe you also relate to, that you might have these symptoms, and also presenting the different labs that I ran within each of these case studies. So in this case, if you are someone that have symptoms where you feel both exhausted and unfocused, a lot of times this comes down to, in my opinion, when it comes down to cortisol and possibly some of the micronutrient deficiencies that are happening here. So with this patient's results, they had very significant low cortisol levels and elevation of DHEA. Typically, we'll see elevation of DHEA because there is a high stress component as well as low of cortisol levels that usually will spike the DHEA. So you can see here, even on just this graph, his cortisol levels are just completely shot. And also testing his other micronutrient tests, his vitamin D levels were really low. Vitamin D can really impact significantly our energy, but also can impact our focus as well as low cortisol. So naturally, the things to kind of implement here that I find that really work really effectively, it doesn't have to be adrenal desiccated. There's other ones, other adrenal supportive supplements out there, but I do really like ones from Standard Process. I had them take first thing in the morning, about 2 to 3. I will start with first thing in the morning of the adrenal desiccated, and then mid-afternoon about 1 to 2 of these. And this can really help make a big, huge night and day difference as far as someone's energy goes. And then with the supplementation of the vitamin D, it typically depends on if we're in the summer or fall, winter months. If they're in the fall, winter months and they're this low, I will start them off on 10,000 IUs. And if they have low vitamin K2 levels, I will make sure they're also supplementing vitamin K2 because that's important for absorption when you're doing high doses of vitamin D. But typically, you'll do that for only about 3 months or so. And these are going to be the best supplements for if you're in this situation and you have these kind of test results. And that is what you're going to find. Because from this experience, it was like a night and day difference for this patient to be able to have that improved energy and better focus. Now, taking it a step further, another case study in this situation is if you are dealing with gas, bloating, and brain fog. Typically, this might be a digestive situation that we're have to address. And a good thing to do a lot of times, like I'll test sometimes, is looking at the gut microbiome. So checking the gut flora to see what's out of balance. And in this case, had lost several ones that were out of balance. There was nothing a dysbiotic flora, so usually that's going to be more severe cases. But even with the imbalanced ones, you still want to be address that. And I'll usually pick a good probiotic that will target to making sure that we're getting good amount of good bacteria and help balancing out the imbalanced flora. So a good probiotic that actually matches this can make a huge difference because 90 to 95% of our neurotransmitters are actually made in the gut. So this is why it's so critical to be addressing the gut of why you might be feeling gassy and bloaty and having that brain fog and focus issues, because the gut needs to be addressed significantly. Now, other things to take us a step further is you also want to make sure your digestive system, so your stomach acidity, is working properly. You don't want it too high, you don't want it too low, you just want a good balance where it's breaking down the foods. And this usually requires things like, especially if you're, in this case, this patient had a pH level from his stomach acidity at 8.2, which I know you can't see it from there because I'm blocking it, but 8.2, that is way too high. I like to see this in between 6.0 to 6.4. That's where you want to see at. So if you go above that, that means you are definitely way too alkaline and you need to add something like betaine HCl to help breaking down the foods because you're too alkaline. You don't have enough stomach acidity to breaking down the foods. So that's the case. And that also incorporating digestive enzymes can help really support that as well. So pancreatic enzymes. Taking this another step further, obviously addressing the gut is really important, but if you are someone that have symptoms that you can't focus and you're also not motivated, there might be other. And so in this case study, this patient came back with results where their dopamine levels were low and their DOPAC was low, which is a breakdown of dopamine, as well as their tyrosine levels were low. So if we look at the neurotransmitter pathway right here, here's tyrosine, and this is the dopamine neurotransmitter pathway, and dopamine, and then DOPAC. So those were the three things that were low, right? So one of my favorite ones to implement when I see all these low is adding something like Dopa Boost, because Dopa Boost has one vitamin B6, which is an activated form of B vitamin 6. So P5P. It also has, I just blocked it, is an acetyltyrosine. So that is a better absorption to help with improving the tyrosine levels. B6 is going to help with the conversion from tyrosine to L-dopa to L-dopa to dopamine. It's this P5P. It's an important cofactor. Then also Mucuna prunes, which helps improve L-dopa, which ultimately is going to help improve dopamine and improving DOPAC as well. And then green tea extract is really good for helping improve dopamine levels as well. So it's one of my definitely favorite go-tos if it makes sense when you have these levels low, and usually you're going to have experiences of that you can't focus and you have motivation issues. Okay. Now, taking that another step further, there could be this is another not opposite, but different case study where this person had fine dopamine levels, had fine tyrosine levels, but they had low PEA. So phenethylamine, if you remember from the neurotransmitter pathway of the dopamine pathway, it's at the very beginning. And this is something I see actually more common than a dopamine issue when I'm running a lot of these different tests. So what do you do in this situation? Well, in this situation, you need to be incorporating phenylalanine. So typically DL-phenylalanine, it's a better absorption of combination of both. So that is something you're going to want to implement, and that can help a lot with the focus and motivation issues. Myself, I definitely, when I was testing these levels, had more low also PA levels and not a dopamine situation so much. And this helped me a lot with my memory, my focus and motivation significantly. It's probably one of my favorites that I like to take for myself. So now, what if you are someone that is depressed and have no drive? So if you're dealing with those kind of experiences of having depression and no drive, you might have a situation where your levels might look like this. And so in this case today with this patient, because they had they were depressed and had no drive, what I found is, and I see this very common when they have these symptoms, is you're going to have low norepinephrine, epinephrine, low serotonin, and 5-HIAA, which is a breakdown of serotonin. So all those markers are low, and they have a lot to do with mitigating, helping with stress. You can see here on the serotonin pathway, here's serotonin. And then on the norepinephrine epinephrine side, that helps with stress. So what you're going to want to incorporate here is one, L-tryptophan, because L-tryptophan is going to help build the serotonin levels back up. Because serotonin is what helps us feel us happy and have a happy mood. It can actually impact our sleep significantly too. 5-HTP is another one that I like to implement too, because that also helps build serotonin levels. L-theanine is going to help with norepinephrine, and epinephrine is a great one. It also can even help with serotonin. So L-theanine is one of my also really favorites that I currently use with my patients, and I also even use for myself. So now, the next one, if you're dealing with symptoms of stress, anxiety, agitation, and also unfocused, there's another case study with this situation where, dopamine levels were elevated actually. Now, why is that? You would think someone with ADHD, why would they have elevated dopamine levels? Well, it's because and also this person was also taking a medication too that increases dopamine. So they already probably might have been a little bit elevated and they didn't need to take the medication. And then by taking the medication, it made them more stressed and agitated, because the symptoms of having too high of dopamine levels, you're going to have those symptoms of anxiety and agitation, and also impacts your focus. The other thing is low epinephrine that helps managing stress are going to be a big impact there, and having elevated levels of GABA can also impact your mood and your stress and your anxiety. So in this case situation, L-theanine is usually going to be a really good one to bring even dopamine levels down back to where they need to be naturally. And then even the other one here too is rhodiola, which helps with also elevation of dopamine. It also, L-theanine and rhodiola can help with epinephrine as well. So that's why I like that combo. And then B complex, typically when I do see imbalances, especially with GABA and other neurotransmitters, typically there's probably a B vitamin deficiency going on here. Now, the other one here too is, what if you are someone that has mood swings and you're confused and you have a bad memory? This is where I would want to look at more on hormones. Hormones could be a possibility that can impact significantly our mood and our memory. So in this case study, this person had low progesterone levels and elevated DHEA. So usually with an elevation of DHEA has a lot to do with possibly also stress, of why those are elevated. And then having low progesterone levels, typically you're going to want to add something more of a natural progesterone cream to improve those levels, to help with with the mood as well as the memory and the confusion. This one was a male. So this one was a female, and this was a male, and they had low DHE levels. So naturally, added DHEA to help improve those because that can also impact having mood swings and confusion because DHEA does help build estradiol as well as testosterone. And so if those are low, you might want to be implementing it. And then the natural progesterone cream for this case, for this female right here, to help improve those. Okay. So I threw a lot of information at you, but this is really what it took to really help them find the right types of supplements, but also the right nutrients too, because we do focus on that a lot to help them bring back their body chemistry back to balance so that because all of them had better focus, they had better energy, they had better mood, less anxiety, less depression, because we targeted specifically what they needed. And so if you would like to find this information out for yourself, the natural step is like we have to do further investigation. Got to figure out what is the imbalances from you. So Jake and I, do what we do for helping out people specifically is booking a consultation with us, with one of us, and where you can actually understand. So we can actually spend time figuring out what lab testing is going to be best for you, as well as putting an action plan together for you that is going to help you achieve that optimal focused mind that you're seeking for. But so what the actual step is specifically is booking that consultation. Now, between Jake and I, we've definitely spent well over $500,000 in continuing education through medical school and through working as clinicians and stuff like that. But we've already done heavy lifting. We've already have done this, had the experience. So you don't need to go become a doctor. And most people don't realize this. In research, we have seen that people in their lifetime will spend over $1 million. People with ADHD that don't treat their ADHD correctly will waste over $1 million in their lifetime because they're not productive. They lose jobs. And they're not being productive or efficient with their time. And so definitely don't want you to have to waste on that. So basically what we're offering is a 45-minute one-on-one consultation either with me or Jake Jackson, who is our head coach, head clinician. And you also get access if you purchase today to our HD health course. That's a $297 value. So over $1,000 value, and you get it all for just $297. So all you have to do is click on the link in the description below. Once you clicked on the link in the description below, then it will take you to this page where you'll purchase. Once you have purchased, then this is very important. So when you hit this, you're gonna hit book now. You're gonna pick a time. Now, if you want to meet with me, you have to select a practitioner. So whether that's with me or Jake, it's going to pop down. You got to select, it'll show our calendar. If you just keep it on any practitioner, it's just going to show both our schedules. And I will say I am booked out till the end of October. I might be booked out until November. Jake has availability, I think, here in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I think, so a lot sooner. So you just pick what works best for you. If you want to see Jake sooner, he's very well qualified practitioner or head coach that can help you as well. So once you've done that, you'll put your name, email, information, and they'll take you to this landing page once you've booked. Now, it's very important. Make sure you check your email because there's 2 emails you can get. One, to activate your Practice Better account. That is our online client portal. That is where you're going to fill out a client questionnaire, and it's important for you to fill out that very thoroughly because that's going to help us determine what lab testing is going to be best for you, as well as putting an action plan together for you. The other thing is also you should get a confirmation appointment link to the Zoom link, as well as make sure to block out time for 45 minutes. If you have any previous labs in the last year, you can upload that into Practice Better, and these are standard labs that you've had with your doctor. It's not a requirement, but if you have them, great. And then just show up early. So if you're really serious about wanting to tackle your ADHD and want to finally understand why you are having these issues of not having the focus, not having the motivation, and all those things, then booking a consultation with us is the best thing that you could possibly do. So we can figure out what are the best labs to implement for you, as well as what are going to be the best action plan to put together. So like I said, go ahead and click on that link in that description, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Thanks. Bye.